of your body have changed, and the advice you use to trust is quietly failing you. Every single day, we are bombarded with confusing diets, expensive bills, and a medical system that treats aging like a disease to be managed, rather than the phase of life to be mastered.
Here's what the research actually shows. Chronic inflammation in adults over 60 is not primarily a dietary problem. It's a mineral deficiency problem, and most people treating inflammation with food alone are addressing the downstream signal while the upstream driver stays active. I'm Chloe. I research clinical mechanisms and translate them for people who want to understand what's actually happening, not just what to do.
In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the real causal chain behind chronic inflammation after 60 and show you exactly how pumpkin seeds address it at the level where it starts. The mechanism is more specific than you've been told, and by the end of this, the action you need to take will be completely traceable to the biology. Here, what starts the cascade. After 60, magnesium absorption declines significantly. And when magnesium is low, a protein called NF-kappa B, the molecular switch that controls your body's inflammatory response, stays in a permanently activated state.
Not because of infection, not because of injury, simply because it's missing the mineral that tells it to stand down. A 2018 review published in Nutrients, covering over 32 studies, found that low magnesium levels are directly associated with elevated CRP, the inflammatory marker most doctors test for. That's the upstream driver, not what you ate for dinner last night. The reason anti-inflammatory diets don't fully resolve chronic inflammation in people over 60 is that they don't address the mineral deficiency that's keeping the inflammatory switch locked in the on position.
Pumpkin seeds, specifically activated pumpkin seeds, are one of the most magnesium-dense whole foods available. 1 ounce delivers approximately 37% of your daily magnesium, but the causal chain doesn't stop at magnesium, because NF-kappa B activation has a second driver that most people don't know about. Here's the connection that makes this more than a single mineral problem. After 60, zinc levels decline alongside magnesium, for different reasons, but with overlapping consequences.
Zinc regulates T-cell activity and directly suppresses a cytokine pathway called IL-6, one of the primary inflammatory signals that NF-κB produces when activated. Think of it this way. Magnesium is what turns the inflammation switch off. Zinc is what keeps the immune system from continuously re-triggering it. Without enough zinc, the immune system stays in a low-level alarm state, producing inflammatory cytokines even when there's nothing to respond to.
Research published in Advances in Nutrition found that zinc supplementation reduced key inflammatory markers in older adults within 6 weeks of consistent intake. This is why the mechanism behind chronic inflammation after 60 is not one factor, it's a chain.
Magnesium deficiency activates NF-κB. Zinc deficiency keeps IL-6 elevated. The combination sustains chronic systemic inflammation regardless of what you eat.
Pumpkin seeds address both simultaneously. In the whole food matrix, your body absorbs more efficiently than most supplements. But there are a third factor in this chain, and this is the one that directly explains joint pain and brain fog. This is a factor that connects systemic inflammation to the specific symptoms people actually feel.
Pumpkin seeds contain ALA, alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3. ALA competes with arachidonic acid for the same conversion enzyme, COX-2. COX-2 is what produces prostaglandins, the molecules responsible for joint pain, signaling, localized swelling, and the inflammatory fatigue that people describe as feeling constantly worn down. When ALA is present in sufficient quantity, it reduces the amount of arachidonic acid that gets converted into prostaglandins. Less COX-2 activation, fewer prostaglandins produced, measurably lower pain, and fatigue signaling.
A study in the Journal of Medicinal Food showed that pumpkin seed compounds demonstrated COX-2 inhibition activity, the same pathway targeted by anti-inflammatory medications like ibuprofen. This is a food-level effect, not a pharmaceutical-level effect, but the pathway is identical.
So here's the full causal chain so far. Magnesium deficiency, NF-κB stays activated chronic systemic inflammation. Zinc deficiency, IL-6 stays elevated immune system in permanent alarm state. Magnesium plus zinc deficiency together, ALA pathway suppress COX-2. Overactivates joint pain, fatigue, brain fog.
That chain explains why anti-inflammatory diets reduce inflammation markers partially but not fully. They address the prostaglandin side, but leave the NF-κB and IL-6 drivers intact. Here's the part that determines whether any of this works in your body or just on paper.
Phytic acid is a compound naturally present in raw pumpkin seeds. It binds to magnesium, zinc, and iron before your digestive system has a chance to absorb them. This isn't a minor reduction.
Studies suggest phytic acid can block up to 60% of mineral absorption from unsoaked seeds. That means if you're eating raw or roasted pumpkin seeds without preparation, the two minerals driving your inflammation cascade are barely reaching your system. The mechanism that fixes this is inside the seed itself. Soaking activates phytase, an enzyme naturally present in pumpkin seeds that breaks down phytic acid from the inside.
4 to 6 hours in water with a pinch of sea salt is sufficient. The water turns slightly cloudy. That's the phytase working. This is why preparation is not optional. Without it, you're not addressing the magnesium NF-κB driver. Without it, you're not addressing the zinc, IL-6 driver. The mechanism simply doesn't run. So here's what the causal chain actually implies. Specifically, because magnesium deficiency is the upstream driver of NF-κB activation, the logical intervention is consistent daily magnesium replenishment from a bioavailable whole food source. 1 ounce of activated pumpkin seeds daily, not occasionally, because zinc depletion sustains IL-6 elevation. The absorption of zinc matters as much as the intake. Pair activated pumpkin seeds with a small amount of protein at the same meal. Protein slows gastric transit and improves zinc absorption efficiency. Because ELA competes with the COX-2 pathway, the preparation method determines whether ALA is intact or oxidized. Never roast above 170 degrees Fahrenheit to 75 degrees Celsius. High heat oxidizes ALA, converting an anti-inflammatory compound into a pro-inflammatory one.
Raw after soaking is the highest bioavailability option because absorption blockade is a mechanism value point. Soaking is a non-negotiable step.
4 to 6 hours minimum, overnight preferred. Discard the water. Rinse thoroughly. Timeline expectation based on the mechanism. Zinc and IL-6 markers. Research shows measurable shift in 6 weeks with consistent intake. Magnesium and NF-κB. Structural deficiency correction takes 8 to 12 weeks.
This isn't about adding a food to your routine. It's about removing the mineral deficit that's keeping your inflammation system in a state it can't exist on its own. If you're currently on any blood measure medication or diuretics, it's worth discussing this with your provider. Pumpkin seeds have a mild diuretic effect. and meaningful magnesium content, which may interact with those medications. This content is for educational purpose only, not medical advice. Most people treating chronic inflammation after 60 are working downstream. They are managing the signal, not addressing the switch. The mechanism is more specific than that.
Magnesium deficiency keeps NF-κB activated. Zinc depletion keeps IL-6 elevated. Together, they sustain a state your body can't correct through diet alone.
Pumpkin seeds, activated correctly, taken consistently, address both drivers at the source. Small adjustment compounds. This is one of the high return ones. If you want to go deeper on how the same mineral deficiency chains connects to sleep disruption after 60, that mechanism is covered in the next video. It's linked right here. You are throwing away the most powerful part of the pumpkin. Those seeds you scrape into the trash carry compounds that can rebuild your sleep, sharpen your memory, and rebalance your hormones. But there's the catch. Eat them wrong and you get none of it. Here's what nobody told you. The heart and blood sugar secret. Most people think of pumpkin seeds as a seasonal snack, something you roast once a year. But look at what's actually inside them. Plant-based protein, magnesium, zinc, and heart-healthy fats packed into a small handful. This is basically a natural multivitamin. Let's start with the heart, because the research here is genuinely interesting. Pumpkin seeds contain phytosterols, plant molecules that structurally resemble cholesterol. They compete with cholesterol for absorption in your gut. So when you eat pumpkin seeds regularly, less dietary cholesterol ends up in your bloodstream. A meta-analysis on phytosterol intake showed that around 2 grams a day could lower LDL cholesterol by roughly 8 to 10%. That's not trivial. It's in the range some people see with low-dose statins, from a seed you keep in a jar on your counter. It's not just cholesterol either. The magnesium in pumpkin seeds relaxes the smooth muscle inside your blood vessel wall, which helps keep blood pressure in a healthy range. I see this in patients constantly. People with chronically borderline blood pressure who start getting adequate magnesium often see measurable improvement within weeks. The potassium in these seeds works alongside that magnesium to stabilize blood pressure further, protecting your cardiovascular system from multiple angles at once. Now, blood sugar. 2 mechanisms work together here. First, magnesium is a critical cofactor in insulin signaling. Over 300 enzymatic reactions depend on it, several tied directly to insulin sensitivity. Low magnesium means lower insulin sensitivity and harder to control blood sugar. Second is fiber. Pumpkin seeds contain both soluble and insoluble fiber, which slows carbohydrate digestion in whatever meal you're eating. Instead of a sharp glucose spike, you get a slower, gradual release. One randomized trial found that adding around 30 grams of pumpkin seeds to a carb-containing meal meaningfully reduced post-meal blood glucose compared to the control group. Not a dramatic crash, just a smoother, flatter curve. If you're ready to add pumpkin seeds to your routine, drop a comment below. But here's what's interesting. The heart and blood sugar benefits, strong as they are, might not be the most surprising thing these seeds do. What they do for your bladder, your prostate, and your sleep is something I didn't fully appreciate it until I saw it play out in my own patients. Prostate, bladder, and the sleep connection. Let's talk about the prostate first. Men would come into my practice complaining about waking up 3 or 4 times a night to urinate. Weak stream, never feeling fully empty. Most assume that's just aging. And honestly, that's what a lot of doctors tell them too. But benign prostatic hyperplasia is driven largely by inflammation and hormonal shifts that come with age. Zinc is one of the most concentrated minerals in a healthy prostate gland, so when zinc drops, the prostate becomes more vulnerable. Pumpkin seeds are one of the richest plant sources of zinc, and they also contain beta-cytosterol, a specific phytosterol. A meta-analysis pooling data from multiple randomized trials, over 500 men with BPH, found beta-cytosterol significantly improved urinary symptom scores and flow rates, not by a little, by a clinically meaningful margin. Stronger streams, less urgency, fewer nighttime trips. I've had patients report the exact same changes weeks after adding pumpkin seeds daily. It's not a pharmaceutical and won't shrink an enlarged prostate overnight, but the effect is real and builds over time. The same compounds also strengthen bladder muscles, reducing leakage in older
Почки
adults,
выступают главным
and the
регулятором
magnesium
уровня
binds
фосфора, но при
oxalates in the
развитии
gut
хронической
before they
болезни
absorb,
почек фосфор не
lowering
выводится
your
с
risk of
мочой и
painful
развивается
kidney stones.
гиперфосфорилация.
Here's what caught me off guard. Patient who started eating pumpkin seeds for prostate or bladder reasons came back saying they were sleeping better. Part of that is obviously fewer bathroom trips, but there's more going on. Pumpkin seeds contain a sleep-promoting trio: tryptophan, magnesium, and zinc. Tryptophan is the precursor to serotonin, which your body converts into melatonin, your master sleep hormone. You can't make it without tryptophan in the chain. Magnesium calms the nervous system by helping regulate your stress response, essentially signaling your brain it's safe to power down. Zinc keeps that serotonin to melatonin conversion running smoothly. A clinical trial giving participants this exact combination, tryptophan, magnesium, zinc, found significantly improved sleep quality versus placebo, with measurable reductions in time to fall asleep and improvements in total sleep duration. My advice: have 1 to 2 tablespoons about 1 to 2 hours before bed, so tryptophan converts into melatonin right as your head hits the pillow, while magnesium and zinc do their calming work overnight. What I want to show you next is something most people in nutrition don't fully understand: how these interact with your hormones and your body's cellular defenses. Hormone balance and cellular protection. Here's something that surprised me. Pumpkin seeds are one of the richest dietary sources of lignans, which are phytoestrogens, plant compounds that structurally resemble estrogen and bind to estrogen receptors throughout the body. They don't replace your hormones, but they help modulate them, which matters enormously for women moving through perimenopause and menopause. I've seen women struggling with hot flashes and night sweats, the kind that wake you up drenched at 3 a.m., report real reductions in intensity and frequency within weeks of adding pumpkin seeds regularly. This isn't just anecdotal. A meta-analysis on phytoestrogen intake found women with higher lignan consumption experienced roughly a 40 to 50% decrease in hot flash frequency compared to those with minimal intake. That's a meaningful change in someone's daily life. What I find even more compelling happens at the cellular level. Beyond lignans and vitamin E, pumpkin seeds contain cucurbitacins, compounds nearly unique to the pumpkin and squash family. In laboratory studies, cucurbitacins have been shown to induce apoptosis, or programmed cell death, in breast, prostate, and colon cancer cell lines. I want to be careful here. These are in vitro and animal studies, not human trials. So I'm not saying pumpkin seeds cure cancer, but the evidence suggests its genuine cell protective and anti-cancer potential. Layer that on top of the anti-inflammatory effects of magnesium and zinc, and you have a food supporting your body's defenses at a fundamental level. Despite being nutrient and calorie dense, their high protein and fiber content promotes satiety and curbs cravings, making them a real ally for weight management. Hormone balance, cellular protection, appetite control. all from a handful of seeds. Next, let's look at what they do for your brain, your eyes, and the parts of you people can actually see. Brain, eyes, and what people can see. When it comes to brain function, pumpkin seeds really start to surprise people. Patients think of brain health in terms of fish oil or expensive supplements, rarely seeds. But pumpkin seeds are one of the richest plant sources of magnesium, which is critical for brain function. It regulates neurotransmitters and sits at N-meter receptor sites involved in memory and learning. When magnesium is deficient, which studies suggest applies to most of the population, those receptors become overactive, linked to anxiety, brain fog, and over time, cognitive decline. When a patient complains of brain fog or low-grade anxiety, magnesium intake is one of the first things I check. Pumpkin seeds deliver roughly 150 milligrams per ounce, about 37% of daily requirement in a single handful. Add zinc, which supports neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new connections, and the omega-3 fats that protect brain cell membranes from oxidative damage. Together, these nutrients support cognition, stabilize mood, and shield brain cells from slow damage you don't notice until decades later. I've had patients who simply added a daily handful and reported noticeable mental clarity within weeks, something people rarely connect to magnesium since they're fixated on calcium. Now, the eyes. Pumpkin seeds contain lutein and zeaxanthin, antioxidants that accumulate in the retina's macula, the area responsible for sharp, detailed vision. Think of them as internal sunglasses. Every time you stare at a screen or sit under LED lighting, these antioxidants filter high-energy blue light before it damages the photoreceptor cells underneath. A meta-analysis found lutein and zeaxanthin significantly improved visual performance and reduced risk of progression toward macular degeneration, the leading cause of vision loss in adults over 50. Meanwhile, zinc and vitamin E nourish hair, skin, and nails in ways topical products can't replicate, and the fiber and magnesium promote healthy bile flow, helping prevent gallstones. Brain protection, vision defense, cosmetic benefits, gallbladder support, all from a fruit most people only think about once a year around Halloween. But here's what almost everyone gets wrong. There's eating these seeds the wrong way, at the wrong time, in the wrong amounts, leaving most of the value on the table. How to actually eat them right. Here's where most people undo everything we just covered. They buy a bag, snack on them raw, or roast them at 400 degrees with salt, thinking they are doing something great. Two mistakes are quietly working against them. The first is enzyme inhibitors. All seeds contain these naturally. Their job is to keep the seed dormant until it's ready to sprout. In your body, though, they interfere with digestion and bind to minerals like zinc, magnesium, and iron, blocking absorption. So, you could eat a handful thinking you're getting all that magnesium, and your body absorbs only a fraction. The fix: soak the seeds in salted water for 6 to 8 hours. This neutralizes the enzyme inhibitors and breaks down phytic acid, making those minerals bioavailable. Blasting them at 350 to 400 degrees Fahrenheit damages the delicate oils inside and can create oxidative stress that works against you. Soak, dry, roast low and slow. That's how you unlock the real value. Second, dosage and timing. The sweet spot is 1 to 2 tablespoons a day, not a cup, not a handful. Timing matters almost as much as preparation. For sustained energy and blood sugar control, eat them morning or midday, so the protein, fiber, and healthy fat slow carb digestion
and keep glucose steady through the afternoon. For sleep, shift to 1 to 2 hours before bed. The tryptophan, magnesium, and zinc drive serotonin and melatonin production right when your body needs them. Same food, same preparation, completely different purpose depending on timing.
I know this sounds like a lot of effort for a seed, but the difference between doing it right and doing it wrong is the difference between getting all these benefits and getting almost none of them.
If you have a known seed or nut allergy, or sensitive digestion like IBS or diverticulitis, introduce pumpkin seeds slowly and watch how your body responds.
What gets me about pumpkin seeds is this. We spend billions of supplements and superfood flowers every year, and sitting right there in the book aisle for about $4 a pound is something that does work of half your medicine cabinet.
Heart health, blood sugar, prostate support, hormone balance, anti-cancer potential, brain and eye protection. This is one of the most quietly powerful foods you can eat.
There's a small, rich seed inside every pumpkin you've ever carved or cooked. I've got something coming up on the hidden benefits of garlic that might surprise you even more. So make sure you're subscribed. But here's what I want you to take with you. Sometimes the most powerful medicine isn't something new or exotic or expensive. It's something that's been sitting right there in plain sight the whole time, waiting for you to pay attention.